It's about that time of the year again. Yes, folks, the time when Samsung lifts its curtains and unveils its latest and greatest flagship. This year, the Galaxy S8. Now, I can go on about the S8 and the rumors that surround it, but I'd actually like to revisit the one that came before and the fiasco that surrounded it. I find it interesting to talk about the Galaxy Note 7, and seeing as I didn't do a proper review of it, revisit it, and talk a little bit about the press statement that Samsung gave regarding the phone and the flaws that ultimately led to its demise. My name is Yang, aka TechRodent, and follow me into this video as we do an obituary and post-mortem of sorts as to what was Samsung's latest phablet. Running through the specs, depending on the region, your Note 7 was either powered by a Snapdragon 820 if you were in the USA, or Samsung's new Exynos 8890 that featured their new Mongoose M1 core. GPU wise, it was either the Adreno 530 or the Mali T880 MP12, which, if it wasn't obvious already, has 12 cores, and for RAM you have 4GB to multitask with. Only one storage size was available, and that was 64GB of UFS 2.0 storage and a micro SD slot that made a welcome return from the Note 4 where it was missing in the Note 5. Finally, its source of life and, ironically, ultimately, its death, a 3500 mAh non-removable battery. We'll talk more about this one later. The Note 7 came with, in my opinion, the most gorgeous display I had ever seen on a smartphone, with really true-to-life colors and viewing angles befitting a top-tier device. Of course, it was also the first Samsung smartphone and possibly the first smartphone to come with an iris scanner. Gone was the micro USB port, now replaced with the new USB Type-C port. And of course, as mentioned before, the micro SD slot made a comeback in the form of a hybrid SIM card tray. Playing around with the new iris scanner, I found it to be incredibly fast and instant once you got your eyes lined up. Yes, it even worked flawlessly with Asian eyes like mine. Fingerprint unlocking is not new to Samsung phones by now, but this time around I found it to be improved and really fast. While you're unable to unlock the phone while it's completely on standby, the action of pressing the home button does the two-step of waking up the device and reading your fingerprints at the same time, making unlocking extremely quick. The Note 7 actually marked a new chapter in Samsung phone history, as it was the first phone to introduce Grace UX, a slimmer, lighter and simpler version of TouchWiz that I found myself enjoying quite a bit. This UI change is luckily now starting to see its way into its smaller brothers, the S7 and S7 Edge, in their Nougat update. Gaming on the Note 7 comes nowhere near the words underpowered, and it's more than capable of handling whatever games you throw at it and pumping out smooth frame rates, whether you're a Monster Hunter person or just a Pokemon Go player. Even though the Note 7 on paper should be all and the same compared to the S7 and S7 Edge, in practice the image quality came out differently on the Note 7 in a very good way. Images seemed sharper and the noise processing was a little less aggressive as well, though that could be due to the more fine-tuned processing in the Note 7. I mean, check out this image that I took of this plant. Here's how it looks fitted to the screen, and now check out that detail at 100%. Simply amazing. Of course, this kind of quality was only retained when I shot the photo in RAW as opposed to JPEG, but you really get the idea of what it's capable of. And of course, this is a waterproof phone, so what's a waterproof phone without some underwater samples? Moving into normal video taking above ground, here's a sample of some downsampled 4K video footage that has OIS. And again, this is the same phone, the Galaxy Note 7, this time at 4K UHD, but this one only has optical image stabilization and not the software level stabilization, and also no HDR, so you can actually see that the trees over on the bottom right of the video are a bit left in darkness. As I pan down, the sky above goes a little bit too bright. But overall, it's still really good footage. But if you want HDR and OIS plus EIS at the same time though, you'll have to shoot at 1080p instead. So this is video footage on the Galaxy Note 7 at Full HD 1080p with video stabilization as well as optical image stabilization. So one hardware and one software level stabilization, and of course HDR, so you can see that the clouds as well as the sun is captured quite well. And just like the stills, testing a waterproof phone isn't quite complete without the phone actually going for a dip. If it wasn't quite obvious already, despite the short amount of time that I spent with my phone, I grew fond of it very quickly. It really was the best phone that Samsung had made by far, and many other reviewers who had tested this phone felt the same way, so when the call came in to surrender it, I think all Note 7 owners were naturally heartbroken and disappointed. Despite Samsung replacing existing units with new ones that had safer batteries with a green battery icon instead of the usual white, issues still arose, and in the end, the crowning flagship of Samsung's lineup was killed. With the recent release of Samsung's official statements about the phone on the 22nd of January though, more information came into light as to why it was so prone to catch on fire. No, despite what many people thought, it had apparently nothing to do with a design flaw on the units itself, but perhaps the pressure to meet exceeding demands for the phone that gave birth to two fatal flaws from both the original manufacturer and the safe one. The original battery had slightly crimped edges on the corners, which led to the positive and negative electrodes being closer to one another than usual, increasing the chances of them contacting and causing a short circuit. Under a lot of heat from usage, gaming, charging, or the environment, these batteries would expand and would start compressing in such a tight space that the anode and cathode films would inevitably contact one another, causing a short circuit, creating plenty of sparks, fires, and flames. As for battery number 2, it was pretty much an unlucky streak for Samsung, as it was nearly the same story, except instead of a crimped corner, the batteries formed burrs from high welding that pierced the insulation tape and caused the short circuit. Heck, there were even some batteries with missing insulation tape. Samsung now knows this, however, and they got to it by tasking over 700 engineers to find out what the problem was. And now they've even released a short clip showing their commitment to safety, reliability, and most importantly, making sure that this never happens again. It's really a damn shame that this phone had to end the way that it did. It really had so much going for it that were it not for its flaws, it would have been the pinnacle Android device of 2016. No use crying over spilled milk, however, and the most important thing is that Samsung learned from this and does not repeat it ever again. If their actions as of late are to go by, however, I for one with great confidence believe that they can climb out of this negative image and form themselves strong again once more. What did you guys think about the Note 7? Did you own one? Were you shocked when you heard about the recall? Are you still in possession of one? You really should return it. Drop your thoughts about the phone in the comments section below, as I'd really like to hear what you guys think. If you found this video helpful or you enjoyed it, please like and maybe even share it. My name is Yang, aka TechRodent, and thank you guys so much for watching.